looking for a phone with stylus support, the new Moto G Stylus 2024 is definitely an option. This phone is a North American exclusive, but it's quite a promising looking device. I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's get into what the Moto G Stylus 2024 is all about in our full review. The Moto G Stylus 5G 2024 looks very similar to other recent Moto phones from their Edge 50 series, and actually its feature set is nearly identical to that of the Latin American Edge 50 Fusion. Of course, that doesn't include this phone's namesake, the stylus support. The stylus comes with the phone and tucks away inside of it. It's about the same size as Samsung's S Pen. This stylus is a passive one though. There is no Bluetooth connectivity and no functional buttons. To use it, it has to touch the screen. Like I mentioned, this phone adopts a design similar to Moto's Edge series. The back is covered in eco leather, and there's no large camera bump drawing attention. The main difference here is that the back and plastic frame are flat, whereas on phones like the Edge 50 Fusion, the back and front curve into a thinner frame. Also, you don't get IP rated ingress protection on the Moto G Stylus. It has what they call a water repellent design, which is something like basic dust and splash coating on the internals. The display of the phone is a 6.7-inch OLED with a 1080p resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. There is no word on what type of glass is protecting the screen, but of course the contrast is great, being an OLED panel and all, and the sharpness is good too. There's support for 10-bit color depth here, but the Moto G Stylus doesn't support HDR video playback. The maximum brightness here is quite good. We measured up to around 550 nits with the manual slider, and this can boost to nearly 1400 nits in auto mode when needed. And when it comes to refresh rate, you get 120Hz while you're interacting with the screen, which smooths things out, and this dials down to 60Hz when idling to save energy. The Moto G Stylus has an audio jack for headphones, as well as a pair of stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support. The speakers have very good loudness, and vocals sound great, but there's not much bass.
Awake, but you're a nightmare. I can't escape, I'm seeing you everywhere.
For biometrics, there's an under-display fingerprint reader, and it's nicely fast and reliable. You can get the phone with 128 or 256 gigs of storage on board, and that is expandable to microSD. Just like the Moto Edge series, the Moto G Stylus 2024 uses Moto's new Hello UI interface on top of Android 14. It's similar to stock Android, but with some custom Moto features, which you can find organized within the Moto app. This Moto app hub has gotten a makeover compared to the one we've seen on previous Moto phones. All of the same functionality of the old Moto UI is still there though. Nowadays, the features that involve connecting the phone to a PC, tablet, or display are found within the Smart Connect hub. Previously, Moto called this functionality Ready For. Of course, the Moto G Stylus brings some unique stylus-centric features too. Taking notes with the stylus is easy, and the screen and the stylus are nicely responsive. You can even take notes while the screen is turned off. It's not just about notes though. When you remove the stylus from the phone, you get a floating menu with several options to choose from, and you can customize this menu as you see fit. There's a handwriting calculator, which we found to be rather advanced and quite handy. The free crop and write from the screen is neat too. This will probably be one of the most used stylus functions. And Motorola promises 3 years of OS updates and 4 years of security patches to the Moto G Stylus 2024. Now let's talk about the chipset. It's a Snapdragon 6 Gen 1, just like you'd get in the Latin America version of the Edge 50 Fusion. In benchmarks, the scores are modest, but adequate for the class. Overall, the Moto G Stylus is no powerhouse, but it packs enough power for a lag-free user experience, and even a bit of gaming. The sustained performance is excellent too, with hardly any thermal throttling during our prolonged stress test. The Moto G Stylus packs a 5000 mAh battery, and the battery life is solid here, with an overall active use score of 12 hours and 43 minutes in our tests. There's support for 30-watt charging here, but the phone ships without a charger. With a compatible one, we were able to charge from 0 to 53% in 30 minutes, and a full charge took about an hour and a half. There is support for wireless charging here too. Now we have the cameras, which are similar to those of the Edge 50 Fusion, a 50-megapixel main cam and a 13-megapixel ultrawide with autofocus. Daylight photos from the main camera are good, with lively colors, high contrast, and dynamic range which is wide, but not over the top. There's plenty of detail too. Human subjects come out quite nice, detailed and well exposed. If you use the 2x digital zoom, the results are decent. Everything seems to match the regular 1x photos, except these are a bit softer. At night, photos from the main camera have plenty of detail, even if it is a bit overprocessed. The noise reduction is proficient, the exposure is balanced, and the colors are nice too. 4K videos from the main camera are just average in quality. There's wide dynamic range, good contrast, and accurate colors, but the detail is mediocre, and there's some noise. Electronic stabilization is optional, but we recommend leaving it on. It does an excellent job to smooth things out. And low light videos from the main camera are noisy with mediocre detail. Now we have the ultra-wide angle camera. Its daylight photos have accurate colors, high contrast, and wide dynamic range. The detail is slightly above average for this sort of camera. And thanks to its autofocus, this camera can take macro close-ups as well. They come out detailed and sharp, and colorful, with wide dynamic range and good contrast. The ultra-wide camera takes usable photos at night. The detail is average, and there's a lot of visible noise, but the colors, contrast, and dynamic range are solid. 4K videos from the ultra-wide are very good for this sort of camera, with a lot of detail, acceptable noise levels, wide dynamic range, and good-looking colors. Selfies come from a 32-megapixel front-facing cam, but they're 8 megapixels due to pixel binning. They're great, with detailed subjects, natural skin tones, excellent dynamic range, and accurate colors. So that's the Moto G Stylus 2024. For around $400, this phone is packed with value, and it's a pretty solid mid-ranger all around. Of course, there are competitors which give you IP-rated English protection, HDR video support, fast charging, or better video recording, but they don't have a stylus. A mid-ranger with a stylus is something pretty unique, and the Moto G Stylus 2024 is the real deal. Too bad it's only sold officially in North America. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for a phone with a stylus, another more expensive option could be the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Or if you like the Moto feature set, you could check out the Moto Edge 50 Fusion. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.